So Merab Dvalishvili just came off a dominant victory over Sean O'Malley. He becomes the 8th UFC bantamweight champion if you want to count him and Barao, since he was the interim champ. A dominant performance by Merab. We have to do another tier list to see who can at least be competitive with Merab or maybe even beat him. So the first person up on the list is number 8 ranked bantamweight Song Yadong. Song has really good boxing. His cardio is actually not that bad. He's been 5 rounds, I believe, 2 times. He went 5 rounds with Corey Sandhagen. I think he got stopped when the 5th round started, but I mean, up until that point, his cardio looked good. Against Ricky Simone, he went 5. I believe he stopped him in the 5th round. He has good takedown defense. Like I mentioned, he has good cardio. He's very fast twitch, very dangerous. He's only 26 years old, so he has a lot of experience, and he's still going to get better. Like, he's very dangerous for Merab just for the simple fact that early on in the fight, he would stuff a lot of Merab's entries, and I don't think Merab would be able to really take him down. When they engage in the 50-50 exchanges, I do see Song Yadong getting the better of it, and he's very powerful, and I could see him hurting Merab and possibly putting him away. Merab's cardio, his pressure, his pace, I think would get to Song. You know, we even saw with Petr Yan, that fight was competitive, but in the 3rd round, he would kind of slow down, which is weird because he went 5 with Ricky Simone, but I ultimately do think that Merab's pace and his pressure, his physicality would be too much for Song Yadong. I would have to put Song Yadong at the decent chance tier. The next fighter we have up is the flyweight champion, Alexandre Pantoja. Pantoja does present some problems to Merab. On the feet, I actually do think Merab would outstrike him. Merab's variety, his footwork, his kicks, I think would get the better of Pantoja. The problem that I do have is sometimes Merab tends to shoot single legs with his head on the outside. Pantoja's best submissions are chokes, you know, rear naked chokes, Bravo chokes, things of that sort. He's very good there. So I could see a possibility where he is able to sub Merab. He got subbed by Ricky Simone. That fight was controversial, but he did get subbed at the end of the day. Merab's pace and his cardio, once again, I think would be the ultimate factor in this fight. I believe he'll start bullying Pantoja and just smothering him. So I would have to put Pantoja. It's kind of hard because I want to put him at decent chance just on the simple fact that he could sub Merab. But the chances, again, of that are not the best. I'll just put Pantoja at low chance. But I can see him at decent chance, too. Next on the tier list is no other than Sugar Sean O'Malley. So Sean in a rematch, I could see more success, you know, if he were to invest to the body more and be, you know, confident in that aspect. But then again, always going to be that takedown threat. And I believe that's why in the first fight last Saturday, he wasn't very aggressive when it came to the body work. He was scared of, you know, getting taken down, getting double leg or single leg. The reality is O'Malley would always have a chance to beat Merab off the back foot with the big counter. That could happen, but the chances are pretty low. I would have to put O'Malley at the decent chance tier. I do think that if he was able to be more willing to put himself in the fire, he could catch Merab, but strength factor is very evident. His cardio will always be a problem for O'Malley. And overall, you know, I just don't think he could beat Merab. That style is just too bad for him. It's a nightmare. The next guy up is a former flyweight champion and currently the number 5 ranked bantamweight in the world, Deiveson Figueiredo. I can't say it. It's hard to say his name. Deiveson Figueiredo. I'm just going to call him God of War. That's what we're going to call him now. You know, so God of War, he presents a lot of danger to Merab on the feet, 100%. His straight shots, I think, could have success if he puts Merab on the back foot. He does have dangerous submissions. His grappling's pretty good. I do think, though, that Merab is very strong and physical, and I do think that Merab will ultimately be able to control him. And, you know, especially in the clinch, I think he would outmuscle him. Figueiredo has been very impressive at 135, you know, beating Garbrandt. He's the first guy to sub him. I think he rear naked choked him. He beat Rob Font. That was impressive. And then the way he beat Chito Vera, the first guy to drop him. So his power carried up to 135, and he's always going to be dangerous. Submission or knockout. On the feet, I can see Merab having success again because he has a lot of variety. And his footwork is going to give a lot of guys problems because he's just very awkward. He's unorthodox. His movements, even when he's linear, he's still bouncy on the feet. I'll have to overall put Deiveson Figueiredo at the decent chance tier just because he's very dangerous in both aspects, the stand-up and the grappling. But Merab's cardio and his physicality should take over in that fight, and I see him just controlling Figgy to maybe a 4-1 decision. Next fighter up is former bantamweight champion and number 6 ranked Henry the Hedgehog Cejudo. Henry Cejudo. This would be another rematch for Merab. Henry had some success in the first fight. In that one exchange they got into, he landed the left hook, just like Marlon Moraes did. I could see another scenario where he's able to land and counter Merab in a 50-50 exchange, but I don't think he has enough power to put Merab away. That was just more like a precision shot. It kind of rattled Merab a little bit, but he was able to recover real fast. Merab showed to be the more dominant wrestler. Henry Cejudo has the ability to scramble back to his feet, so I think, a lot of the fight's going to be it's going to be a very fast pace, and they're going to be mixing in the grappling and the wrestling and the striking as well. But I think over 5 rounds, it's going to be even worse for Cejudo in the championship rounds. He slowed down in a 3-rounder, so imagine a 5 at a crazy pace with Merab. He's going to 100% slow down. He's already about maybe 36, 37. He's an older guy now. I don't see him having much success versus Merab Dvalishvili, honestly. I would have to put Henry Cejudo at the low chance tier. He just doesn't present enough danger for Merab. He doesn't have enough power to put him out, and he has 0 submission ability, so he would have to win a decision, and that's not going to happen. So the next fighter up on the list is former bantamweight champion Petr Yan. Damn, it's kind of crazy that a lot of these contenders were former champions. That's how bantamweight's a Shark Tank. But in this matchup, it'd be another rematch for Merab. In their first fight, Yan actually did a great job of defending Merab's entries. Merab only was able to land 11 takedowns out of 49, which is insane. So that's great on Yan's part, but that just shows, the pace and the cardio of Merab. I saw a report and I saw Yan say that he was injured. I believe it was his bicep or something. I do kind of believe it to a certain extent because he defended all the takedowns, but he was never countering. And he was saying at the last few weeks of his training camp that he couldn't really hit the pads and work his stand-up as well. If he's able, if that's true, like I think it is, because like I said, he had a lot of counter opportunities versus Merab, but he wasn't throwing anything. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for him, but I'm just saying that I don't think he was 100%, I could see, him defending a lot of Merab's takedowns this time around again and, making Merab pay on the feet, going to the body with body kicks, working his boxing, baiting Merab, just countering him and maybe hurting him at some points. I could see some level of success for Yan. Overall, I don't think Merab's like the biggest one-punch knockout guy, so I can't really see him knocking Merab out unless he rocks him and then finishes him off with some volume. And I don't see him subbing Merab at all, so this fight is likely going to go to a decision. I could see Yan picking up the early rounds, but 4 and 5, Merab definitely wins those. The third round would probably be the decider in that fight. I would have to lean Merab again, but I do think Yan could have more success. So all in all, I would put Petr Yan at decent chance tier. The next fighter up on the tier list is actually a former featherweight champion, Max Holloway. And the reason I'm putting him here is because there's potential that he might be able to beat Ilia Topuria. And then, Merab makes some defenses hypothetically, and then he goes up to fight Max. I could see that. So with Max and Merab, Max has the cardio to match Merab, but, Volk was able to take him down. Ortega was able to take him down one time, I believe. He was able to get back up quick to his feet, but he took him down. Actually, even Yair took him down one time as well. So he's able to take him down. I think Merab would be able to work some doubles off the cage and take Max down and control him for some time. Max, to me, at 145, I'm not talking about 155 Max, so I don't want to hear anybody mad. 145 Max is not very powerful, so I don't see him knocking Merab out. If he's able to get up back to his feet and invest in Merab's body, put volume on him, and then start picking it up later in the rounds, he could have success. But then again, Merab's most likely never going to slow down in a fight. Like, I've really never seen it. So I think, the pace, I think he'll be a little stronger at 145. He doesn't have to cut as much. The length of Max is going to give him problems, but also, Max having longer limbs, if he's able to catch one of Max's kicks, it's easier, to take him down. So I would put Max Holloway. I'll put him at the 50-50 chance. The next fighter we have is undefeated, Dagestani bantamweight, number 2 ranked Umar Nurmagomedov. Umar Merab is one of the most anticipated fights, in my opinion now. Umar had difficulties to Merab. I believe he'd be able to deny Merab's entries, especially double legs. I don't think he would be able to get a double leg on Umar. In the striking realm, this is the thing with the striking, though. I think that when a wrestler has a takedown threat, it's going to enhance their striking. So the striking is going to look better than it actually is, in my opinion. Versus Corey, Umar has great kicks, so I think that's going to give, Merab some difficulty, but Merab could kick as well. So they're going to be slamming those kicks on each other's guards. They both have snappy kicks. I don't think Umar's boxing is as good as people think. If you watch the Corey fight, a lot of his punches are arm punches, He doesn't really have a lot of snap. His punch placement is not the best. He doesn't have, great variety. He will go to the body at times, but it's not very constant. Also, his form is not the best. Merab doesn't have the best form either, and his punch placement is not great at all. His punch variety is not great either. So, I think in the boxing aspect, I can't really pinpoint who would have the more success. Umar is the fastest or quicker than Merab. So we still don't know, because versus Corey, he had difficulty taking him down. They're at a decent pace. His cardio held up, right? But that pace is not the same that Merab's going to put on him. And Merab is very careless. I do think he would still, work the clinch against Umar. He would still shoot on Umar, and he won't get tired. But the question is, would Umar get tired? And I feel like we still don't know because the pace versus Merab is just going to be different. Like O'Malley was able to go 5 rounds versus Cheeto because he was on the front foot, so he didn't slow down. When you get resistance and you start getting backed up and you're on the back foot, it changes. So I can't say 100% that I'm confident that Umar wouldn't start fading. I think the fight is as 50-50 as it gets, so I would place Umar at the 50-50 tier. And I could see him beating Merab. I think the fight definitely goes to decision. Like, I don't see him really knocking out Merab. He's not the most powerful guy. He knocked out Hani Barcelos. Hani Barcelos is a shell of himself, so I don't really take that into much consideration. And submission ability-wise, he does have good submission ability. Maybe there's a point where he's able to, reverse Merab and get his back and latch in a rear naked choke, but I think, the chances of that are very low. So the fight's going to go to decision. It's going to be 3-2 either way, 48-47. I would have to put Umar there. And the last fighter on the tier list, the current featherweight champion and the best fighter in the world, Ilia Topuria. So Ilia and Merab. This fight would never happen. This is just hypothetically, right? I think that Ilia would absolutely destroy Merab. I think he's a bad style for Merab. He can defend the takedowns. He's the bigger guy. He can go 5 rounds. At the pace that Merab would put on him, if Merab is able to survive, that would cause Ilia a lot of problems. But I think Ilia will ultimately finish him in the first 3 rounds. He has great submission ability. We haven't seen much of it yet, but watch, you'll see. In his previous fights before the UFC, he showed his grappling. It's very amazing. He was able to, submit Bryce Mitchell. That's very impressive. Bryce Mitchell is a good grappler. I think he would defend Merab's entries, rip to the body, rip to the head, and it would just be an avalanche. I think he would finish Merab. I don't think he would one-shot him. I think it would be just, value him and just overwhelm him. Merab, on the feet, he's not going to have success at all. Maybe he could throw little high kicks to the guard, some lead high kicks, disrupt Ilia momentarily, but he's going to get hurt and he's going to get finished. The fate of the bantamweight division is all in Umar Nurmagomedov's hands. If Umar Nurmagomedov can't beat Merab, nobody's going to beat Merab at 135 until he retires. And that's just the honest truth.
In the moment he's gonna stop in the middle and start to exchange the punches with me, I recommend him to use a Hamlet because he's gonna need it.